Hi and welcome to this partial solar eclipse reading. This partial solar eclipse is in Scorpio and it is together with Venus. And Venus is in a last quarter square to Pluto, so it is a time of letting go. And it might be a time of letting go in certain relationships, but it is definitely a time of letting go of certain pictures in yourself. And I mean, in astrology, Scorpio is connected to Mars. In traditional astrology and in modern astrology, Scorpio is connected to Pluto. Mars is connected to this is what I want, this is what I need, this is my impulse, this is my yearning. And Pluto is a symbol for the journey of the soul. And it's interesting that both come together in this sign. And this solar eclipse is talking about maybe a new relationship to the archetypes that are in your field. I mean, we all are born with a certain chart. We all are born with certain archetypal energies. Like, for example, if you have the archetype of the mother, then you are someone who is always mothering other people, who is always caring for other people, who is always looking to support others and nourishing others, and maybe to find a new way to live this archetype. You cannot change that you have these archetypes. We have a certain landscape, so to speak, of archetypal energies, but the way we experience that, this Scorpio solar eclipse is a call to change, to transform, and to deeply transform, to be courageous, to let something die. For example, I mean, Gandhi, they say that Gandhi has a very strong warrior archetype, but Gandhi brought the warrior archetype to a new level because he said, okay, this is what I stand for, this is what I fight for, but I won't use violence. I will do it peacefully. And he changed the warrior archetype forever. So it is about a new chapter in your field of archetypes. It is about a new chapter in the way you relate to yourself. And all spiritual traditions, they say that we are not our thoughts, we are not our emotions. Our soul chooses our emotions, our soul chooses our thoughts. So in a way, our thoughts and our emotions are very personal, are part of Pluto, our soul's journey, but it is also something that our soul uses. So sometimes our emotions are also in a way not personal, but part of our archetype. If I have the archetype of the mother and I lose my children, then this huge pain that I feel is also part of the mother journey. It is something that is part of this archetype, or the fear of losing your child, or the happiness to nourish everyone. There are certain ingredients to remain in the picture of the mother that are typical for a certain archetype. And this is not only personal, it is personal that maybe your soul has chosen this archetype. Your emotions are personal and not personal. Your relationships are personal and not personal, because sometimes you dance with people that have certain archetypes for a reason, because this dance invites you to grow, invites you to change, invites you to develop. And it is interesting that this partial solar eclipse is also in a trine to Uranus, so it is also about soul contracts. It is maybe, because it's a south node solar eclipse, maybe a time to release certain contracts and to let them go. I mean, when the Queen of England died, I found it very impressive, a very strong picture when her servant over her coffin broke the rod. So this kind of, you are free from your duty now, you are freed. And this kind of, this Scorpio South Node partial solar eclipse is a time of releasing. It is a time of releasing people. It is a time of also maybe releasing old contracts that you hold with your archetypal forces. And to stay in that picture, to say, I want to experience being a mother in a new way. I break the chain. I break the rod to stay in this archetypal experience. I choose something new. And I've pulled some cards, and the cards I pulled for general, I've also pulled cards for every ascendant. In the general cards we have Newt, we have Uranus, we have health, we have sorrow, and we have Parzival. So it is a time of a vision quest. Many of us during this time, during the next weeks and months, will be confronted with old sadness, old fears of loss, or maybe experiences of sudden loss with Uranus. Uranus might say you might experience a certain loss very suddenly, or Uranus might talk about certain triggers, that maybe something is just a normal encounter, but it triggers something old in you. So it is a time where really it is Scorpio, it is about shadow work, and allow this shadow work, allow this transformation, go on the vision quest. This time is an invitation. This whole autumn and winter, I can also link the Mabon video and in a way also the Mars retrograde video. It is all about a time of releasing the old, a time of transformation, a time of reflection. It is a time of letting go, and it is an invitation in this letting go, getting still, and even more getting empty. We need to get empty and to become like Parzival, like the fool. We have to become a fool who doesn't know anything, who wants to experience everything, who wants to breathe the world anew, who wants to see the world anew, and who doesn't know anything because he hasn't seen the world before. Parzival grew up in the forest with his mother. The mother kept him away from the world. He didn't know anything, but this was also a chance because his heart was totally open. He was totally innocent. And we need this innocence if we want to experience something new and establish something new in our life. So it is first and foremost a new relationship in our own field of archetypal emotions and structures and issues, to say this is a time, an invitation to live yourself anew. And we shouldn't let us fool by what is our first impulse, what we think we need during the time. I mean, Mars is going stationary right now and will go retrograde during the next month, and it starts retrograding in a square to Jupiter and Neptune. So it is all about stories that we tell us that are not true, that are only there to confuse truth. And it is about to stop the confusion in ourselves. We tell ourselves too many stories all the time. Our head is full of stories, and all those stories, it is like pollution. It is pollution of our essence, and to get rid of that, and we can get rid of that if we empty our mind and if we intentionally go on a vision quest. It is not just walking around to be in that picture and think, okay, I will see what happens. But intentionally saying, let me see, let me experience what I need to change, to send that prayer and to trust that this prayer during that time will be answered. It is a very good time for that. It is a very good time for new contracts in yourself and for new contracts with others in your life. And the beautiful thing is there's a trine to Juno in Pisces, so it is about soul connections. And we have a grand air trine between Saturn and Vesta in Aquarius, between Mars and Gemini, and Mercury in Libra. So it is really a time of new communication, lots of messages. It is a huge opportunity to find a new way to communicate inside yourself and new ways of communicating with others. So I will now go through the houses and the cards that I have pulled for you. So if you have a Scorpio ascendant, it is in your first house, this partial solar eclipse. So it is really a new way of relating to yourself. It is time to let something very profound go the way that you see yourself, and maybe also how you learned by tradition. It is a South Node eclipse, by something that comes out of past lives, the way you see yourself. It is time for you to change that. With the card Samhain, we are close to Samhain, we are close to Halloween. It is a time of change and of huge transformation for you, and you are a Scorpio ascendant. You have the courage to do that. If you have a Libra ascendant, this partial solar eclipse is in your second house, so it is a time to change the way you see your body. And there might be old ways how you see your body from past lifetimes, and to really change it, to surrender them, to let them go. What gives you safety, what makes you ground in this world, in this Taurus house, in the second house, that you find a new way to ground yourself, and that you go on this vision quest to find, maybe there are new ways to earn money, maybe there are new ways to experience my body in this world, world, to find pleasure in this world, to experience being alive in this world. If you have a Virgo ascendant, it is a time to find your grace again. It is a time to find your grace, the relationship with your siblings maybe, or with your neighbors, or maybe also in the way you think, because Virgo quality is to differentiate. But maybe it is now a time to open for more truth and to enrich your life with more truth and to invite grace to guide you for a wider horizon in your life. If you have a Leo ascendant, then it is not so easy, because this partial solar eclipse is in your 4th house, and in your 4th house it is about where you feel emotionally safe or where you feel at home. And this is a time where you have to change something, you have to let go, of something where you feel safe. And if you are able to let that go, then you find new joy. There is something in the way you thought you are feeling, or this is me, and to transform this identification. This is me, this is how I feel. And this is a time where there is a change. It might also in your home, but I would say for many of you, it is about first and foremost your emotions, the way you think. This is me, this is how I feel, this is how I am. And to say, maybe I am wider than I thought, maybe I am different than I thought, maybe I can experience my archetypal landscape in a new way. If you have a Cancer ascendant, then this partial solar eclipse is in your 5th house. And with Mercury, I would say it is a time to communicate in a new way, to communicate what you want in a new way, to communicate with your children in a new way, to communicate maybe in your sexuality in a new way, whether it is with your body or with words, but to communicate what you want in a new way and to let old ways go. And with Cancer, we sometimes tend to be very traditional and very, this is how I always did it and this is how it should be, and to let that go and to find new ways. Be courageous. Go on a vision quest. Trust the pictures that come into your mind. The 5th house is very creative. Trust the pictures that come out of you, out of your heart. Trust a new heart connection in your life. If you have a Gemini ascendant, it is with Venus about a new relationship, how you relate to your daily life. Something needs to change in there. Something needs to change how you relate in your diet, how you eat, how you treat your health, how you are of service in this world. I would say this time is a time to find a new joy in daily life. There is something that needs to change in your daily life where you find a new joy, and maybe it is just a certain attitude that has to change, or maybe even a job that has to change. Maybe it is something how you treat your health that needs to change, but there is something in your daily life that needs more change. And with Venus, I would say it is to find pleasure again, to find beauty again in your daily life. If you have a Taurus ascendant, then the partial solar eclipse is in your 7th house. And with the South Node, it is about old relationship, about old karmic relationships. It is about releasing certain relationships, certain people out of your life. Let them go. I know it's Taurus. Taurus wants relationships forever and ever and ever. But sometimes it is time to release it. Maybe just release a certain aspect of a relationship, but be courageous. Let certain relationships go. It is time. Or let certain aspects of a relationship go, but this is a time of releasing in your personal relationships. If you have a Aries ascendant, then it is about releasing maybe a karmic debt. It is about finding truth in whom and how you want to commit with others. What does commitment mean to you with others? What does it mean to own, I don't know, a house together, a car together, a company together? And there is something that needs to change. There are contracts that you want to break, and to stay in the picture of the Queen, there is something where you want to break the rod and to say, I want to be free. I need to break the chain. If you have a Pisces ascendant, then this is in your 9th house. And this partial solar eclipse says it is time that you find new ways of how you see relationships. What are your ideas about relationships? What are your beliefs about relationships? And that with rhythm, there is something that is more aligned with your soul. If you let those old pictures go, those old pictures, what relating means. If you have an Aquarius ascendant, then it is about your 10th house. It is about where am I going in this lifetime? What is it what I really want to do? And there is something where you need to change your path, and it's not about the path that everyone goes. You are an Aquarius. You love the adventure, and it is about a new adventure in your life. If you have a Capricorn ascendant, then it is about your 11th house. It is about new friends. It is about new ways of relating in friendships. Maybe you need to find more support. Maybe you need to give more support. But it is about a new way of finding and giving support and being more enriched in this area of your life. And finally, if you have a Sagittarius ascendant, then this partial solar eclipse is in your 12th house. So it is about messages from the soul. Maybe you have hidden something from the world that needs to change and that you need to show that to the world. Or it is about certain things that your soul wants to tell you, and where you need to change something in the stillness of your heart, in the way you relate to your soul. And that you find that because your soul is talking to you in your dreams, talking to you through omens, listen to your soul. This is an invitation, this partial solar eclipse, to listen to your soul in an inner emptiness, like possible, in an inner not knowing. The advice from the cards, I would say, is the advice that is for everyone during this partial solar eclipse. Become the fool again. And it is the least violent and the most loving if we are able to step into this fool and to say, I do not know anything who I really am, because my soul is far more than my emotions. My soul uses my emotions. My soul is far more than my thoughts. My soul uses my thoughts. My soul is far more than my body. My soul uses my body. I find my soul in stillness. I find my soul in inner peace. I find my soul when I walk through nature and ask for answers, ask for signs. Then I'm in connection with all that is, and the landscape of my soul is part of all that is. So I wish you that this time will bring a huge and beautiful transformation. And as I said at the beginning, that this sadness in a way might be just an invitation for something new that wants to come in your life and wants to enrich your life in a new way. So I wish you all the best. Till next time, namaste.